What is up, everybody? I am NerdRage36, back with another pickups video, and I actually just got back from a trip. I was up in Washington visiting a friend that I haven't seen in a while, and of course, being in Washington, I naturally had to check out Pink Gorilla. It was a lot smaller than I expected, although then I found out that there were actually 3 locations for the famous store, and I only had enough time to check out one, but I did find some stuff while I was out there. Gonna start off with a few things that I found before I went on my trip. So, starting off, Pac-Man collection for the GBA. Came with the manual. And yeah, honestly, I didn't really know exactly why I felt like grabbing this, but it seemed pretty cool. It was something I learned about through Mr. Waz, but I think the one that I'm a little more interested in checking out, unironically, would actually be Pac-Mania. I think that's the one, because it's the one with the isometric camera angle, and you can actually manually jump, and part of me can't help but wonder if that may have been the starting inspiration for eventually going into the direction of the Pac-Man World games. I know there was also Pac-Land. That was a side-scroller, but I think that's a little different in comparison, but who knows? And I mean, come on, Pac-Man. It's iconic. Next up, the Disgaea Strategy Guide, and as you can see, it actually it has the PSP, DS, and PS2 versions. Like, it covers all 3 versions. I'm not sure how different the 3 are, although a friend of mine who's really into the Disgaea games did say that the PSP version is the best way to play, at least the original version of the first Disgaea game, and that's actually the one I have back there. Picked up Disgaea Afternoon of Darkness. Is that what it... Yeah, Afternoon of Darkness. I picked that up at a record store that was going out of business. I picked up a couple of things. This was years and years ago, so yeah, it's actually pretty cool to finally have this, and having a strategy guide for a really in-depth strategy RPG may be the kick in the pants I need to finally play it. But it is cool to finally have it, and the fact that it covers 3 variations of basically the same game maybe gives me an excuse to play it multiple times. Next up, Lost Planet Game and Strategy Guide. This is a game and a series that I haven't really heard too much about. I know it's a little more. It was a little more experimental for the 360 generation. Well, not necessarily. It is a shooter, but I mean, it's got giant robots. I like giant robots, and it's a series by Capcom that I don't think they've really done much with after the Generation 7 consoles. And well, I mean, the first one was indeed a 360 exclusive, and you got to get those wherever you can. I think I saw a Happy Console Gamer talk about Lost Planet, and I don't know. I'm a little interested. And again, got to get your 360 exclusives however you can. And I don't know. I like giant robots. This seems unique enough, and the fact that it has a decently thick strategy guide makes me think there's a little more to it than just your typical third-person shooter rigmarole. But also, and I love when this happens, the strategy guide comes with a poster, and check it out. It was still in there. I'm going to leave it in there because, much like with other posters in strategy guides that I've collected throughout these videos, I don't have room for it right now, but who knows, maybe when I get my own place, you'll see the walls plastered in all these posters. And I'm actually going to put them all in picture frames just because I don't like the curled edges and whatnot. And now, moving on to what I found while I was out in Washington. Starting off, I actually didn't find this at Pink Gorilla. I found this at a really cool thrift store. I don't even remember the name of it, but if you're ever in Yakima, Washington, then what you got to do is look for this kind of, like, you know those metal buildings that almost look like old airport, like, hangars, I guess is the best way to describe it. But look for one of those with a giant Alvin and the Chipmunk statue. Trust me, you'll know what I mean if you see it. But one of the things I found there, Front Mission 4 strategy guide. And no missing pages, although the corner of... that's a little flat, which is disappointing. But it still works as a strategy guide. And again, it's a strategy RPG. I love giant robots. And it is always good to get strategy guides with RPGs. Front Mission is a weird series that I've noticed. Like... I think the very first one that ever released in the States was Front Mission 3, and they just called it Front Mission 3, and then you got 4, and then they did a remake of the first one on the DS, and then you got a remake of 1 and 2 for the Switch a few years ago, so it is just one of those weird things where they just release it in completely random order, and I don't know, but... I know very little about this franchise, but it does look interesting. Again, I like giant robots, and honestly, like some of the character designs I'm seeing on the back here, a little more interesting. Like you'd probably expect it to be a little more pretentious and overly dramatic, but it looks like at least one of the characters might be having fun with this. I mean, he's wearing camo pants and a mullet. Who knows? Honestly, this series is interesting to me because, again, I like giant robots and I like RPGs. And finally, the big ones. One of these I did find at Pink Gorilla, but the other one I actually found at that same thrift store that I found the strategy guide for Front Mission at. Final Fantasy VII. Original game and Advent Children. And here's the crazy part. Because for years, I've had this... I haven't played it yet, but now I have no excuse. I did have Crisis Core for the longest time. You've probably seen it in the background and in my video on Spin-Offs, but now look at that. I know there's like the remake and the remaster of Crisis Core, but like in terms of the original lineup of Final Fantasy VII, I've got the whole set now. And that is just really cool. The thing that I was honestly surprised the most of finding Advent Children at that thrift store is that the discs are in immaculate condition. Like, look at that. Like, and I don't think the store that the thrift store that I found it at had like a resurfacing machine, but like these are like brand new, basically. And it's what's weird is the case is like I don't know if you can see it, but it's a little wrinkled in random spots. But like how the discs managed to stay in such great condition, I don't know. And similarly with the actual game Final Fantasy VII comes complete. The discs are in great condition, and this one I did find at Pink Gorilla. I found Final Fantasy VII at Pink Gorilla. And it is cool to finally have like such an iconic game for the PS1. And like I've been waiting to have an excuse to play Final Fantasy VII and play Crisis Core, and I guess now having the whole set here is that excuse. Again, I might not be playing it right away because I play PS1 games on my CRT, and right now my current situation is not suited for me to have my on-the-floor chair over there out all the time in order to play something, and especially something as long as this. I do know that this is more or less an alternate take and a follow-up to 7, so this is obviously going to be one of the last bits of it that I check out. But I know Crisis Core is a prequel, but from what I've heard, it's one of those prequels that gives away a lot of like spoilery stuff from the original game, so it's more like play the original and then play this to fill in the gaps, which it's okay. I mean, I'm used to that. I do like checking things out in chronological order, though. But if release order is more like if it's better to play in release order, then I get that. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII, one of, if not the biggest like holes in my PS1 library, and I finally have it. I'm really excited to check that out. I obviously would want to get a strategy guide because, I mean, for crying out loud, strategy guides for RPGs. I just talked about that like twice in this video, but thing is, I want to get a very specific one. Like, I know there's that famous, I think it's by Brady Games, but like a really old strategy guide. I know Alpha Omega Sin talked about it in his strategy guides video, but there's one that he also brought up that I really, really want to check out. If I can even find it, like, it's probably something I might have to order online. But it's the hardcover triple pack of Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. Particularly because I know that the guide for Final Fantasy 9 is, or at least the original one, is kind of like bad because it was one of those, let's try a physical book in conjunction with the internet. That didn't work. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know when I'll be getting around to Final Fantasy 7, so I've got plenty of time to find a strategy guide, whether it's the original release or that hardcover one for 7, 8, and 9. Who knows? I just love the hunt, and I am really looking forward to eventually playing Final Fantasy 7 and Crisis Core. Too many games, not enough time. It's a problem, but damn do I love having that problem. Anyway, with all that, I am NerdRage36, and I'll see you later.